Rumpelstiltskin, a tale by the Brothers Grimm. Once upon a time, there was a poor miller who had a beautiful daughter. One day, he spoke with the king, and to impress him, he said, "My daughter can spin straw into gold." The king was very curious. "That's a wonderful skill," he said. "Bring her to my castle tomorrow. I want to see it myself." So, the next day, the girl was brought to the castle. The king led her into a room full of straw. He gave her a spinning wheel and said, "Spin all this straw into gold by morning, or you will die." Then he locked the door and left her alone. The poor girl sat there, completely lost. She didn't know how to spin straw into gold. She grew more and more afraid and began to cry. Suddenly, the door opened. A tiny little man came in. "Good evening, miller's daughter," he said. "Why are you crying?" "I have to spin this straw into gold, and I don't know how," she sobbed. "What will you give me if I do it for you?" the little man asked. "My necklace," she replied. The little man took the necklace, sat down at the wheel, and began to spin. Frou, frou, frou. In no time, one bobbin was full of gold thread. Then another and another. By morning, the entire room was filled with gold. The king was amazed and very pleased, but he wanted more. He took the girl to a second room, even larger, filled with more straw. "Spin all this into gold by morning," he said, "or you will die." Again, the girl was left alone, and again she began to cry. The little man returned. "What will you give me this time?" he asked. "The ring on my finger," she said. He took the ring and spun all the straw into shining gold, just like before. The next morning, the king was even more delighted, but he still wasn't satisfied. He brought the girl to a third room, bigger than both the others, and filled with even more straw. "If you can spin all this into gold one last time," he said, "I will marry you. You shall be my queen." As soon as she was alone, the little man came once more. "What will you give me if I help you again?" "I have nothing left," she whispered. "Then promise me your first child when you become queen," he said. The girl didn't know what to do. She thought, "Who knows what will happen later?" So she agreed. The little man spun all the straw into gold. When the king saw it, he kept his promise. He married the girl and she became a queen. A year later, the queen gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. She had long forgotten her promise. But one day, the little man suddenly appeared. "Now give me what you promised," he said. The queen was terrified. She begged him to take all the treasures in the kingdom, just not her child. But the little man replied, "No, something alive is worth more than all the gold in the world." The queen wept so bitterly that at last the little man felt sorry for her. "All right," he said, "I will give you 3 days. If you cannot guess my name by then, you can keep your child." That night, the queen stayed up thinking of every name she had ever heard. The next day, she sent messengers all across the kingdom to collect even more names. When the little man returned the next evening, she tried. "Is your name Casper?" "No," he said. "Melchior? Balthazar?" "No, no," he replied after each name. The second day, she tried all the strange and silly names she could find. Is it roast ribs, sheep shanks, spindle shanks? But each time the little man just laughed and said, "That is not my name." On the third day, a messenger returned with something very curious. "I saw a little house deep in the forest," he said. "In front of it was a fire, and around the fire danced a funny little man on one leg. He sang the song, 'Today I bake, tomorrow I roll. The next day the queen's child comes due. Oh, how glad I am that no one can guess that my name is Rumpelstiltskin.'" The queen was overjoyed when she heard this. That evening, the little man came once again. "Well, my queen," he said, "do you know my name?" She smiled and said, "Is it Jack?" "No." "Harry?" "No." Then maybe it's Rumpelstiltskin." The little man turned red with rage. "The devil told you that! The devil told you that!" he shouted. "He is a fairy." He stomped so hard that his foot sank deep into the ground. Then he grabbed his old foot and pulled, and in his anger, he split in two. And that was the end of Rumpelstiltskin.